Afternoon, everybody. This is Pete Meyer, Motor Age Magazine. Welcome to another edition of Shop Talk. Today, special guest, you know him, accomplished technician, shop owner, educator. He's been involved in a lot of areas of the automotive aftermarket, including his recent role as executive officer of the National Automotive Service Task Force. Let me introduce you to good friend Donny Seyfer. Donny, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Pete?
And let's see, we'll bring in the straight shot there so we can both hear each other talking. Fix this angle here. There we go. Donny, the main reason we got together today was that as the director for NASTF, you guys have rolled out a new platform as part of the Secure Data Release Module, the SDRM. Why don't I break off to the side and I'll let you tell everybody who's watching all about that.
Okay. Well, so the SDRM, I get this question fairly frequently. What is that? It stands for, as Pete said, the Secure Data Release Model. And that was developed many years ago by NASTF staff and members who worked with the automakers to create a way for the immobilizer and key codes to be available for emergency key production. That was its original intent. It has moved way past that. We've got it being used for auctions. We've got it being used for all kinds of different functions, some scan tools. To perform a function, you need to be able to use what we call an LSID, a locksmith ID. We're changing that name because it confuses those of us that repair cars for a living, to vehicle security credential and vehicle security professional. But you use those sometimes to access the OE's website. It pings our server where all of the credentialed members of our system are, and it says, is this guy legit? And the system responds back with a yes or no, and then it logs a transaction from the automaker so that NASTF, NICB, and the automaker, if necessary, can see this data and make a decision about, well, if a car is stolen, for example, we want to know whether a locksmith made a key for it before it was stolen or after it was stolen, because after is really common. Before is a little concerning, right? So that's how this thing works. And we've had a system in place since 2008 that has had very minimal updates and frankly became really outdated. And our users can't run their own accounts, and we process applications one by one, which when we had a few hundred or even a couple of thousand, that wasn't a big deal. Now we're at 6,000 plus. And we have Canada in the system as well. And we're processing over 1 million transactions. In fact, right now we're almost at 1 million transactions for the year, and we've still got 3 months to go. So this will be an all-time high. We had to facilitate a way so that the users could do their own account management. They could renew their accounts, and then also the D1 form, which is a positive identification form that says, when I was out in the field, I talked to this person, I verified their information that they are who they are, they have the right to make a key for this thing. Those have been, those have been done on paper, and that's been troublesome. We did a campaign in June. Some of you may have heard about it or read about it or even been involved in it, where we shut down 1,300 of our VSPs so that we could audit them, because we were finding that they were sharing information that they aren't supposed to share, their LSID, or we had code brokers that had their LSIDs. We found them on the dark web. So we shut all of them down and we audited them. And I looked at over 7,000 D1s personally, which was a lot of fun. And then we left about 250 still suspended, and we taught them how to fill out a D1. So part of what this system does is it's all online now. It's all automated, and you can run it from a phone We're taking this quantum leap forward, but at the same time, users are completely confused about this. So that's why I was really appreciative that I ran into Pete at I don't know which show. We run into each other's shows all the time, and he said, "Well, why don't you come on and we'll talk about it." So I've got a couple of videos that we put together that we'll show you, and then Pete and I'll answer any questions you have too along the way. So, Pete, why don't we roll that first one about this, just sort of a general overview of the system. Welcome to the new SDRM 2.0. This is a completely web-based way for you to manage your D1s and your account with your NASTF vehicle security credential. So by now you should have already set up and migrated your account when you went through our existing LSID process, or you're a new user. In any case, we're going to start off by putting our email that we set up the account with in and our password. I saved mine, so I'm able to go in right away that way. But this is a new feature that we've got, and this is the two-form factor authentication. So you need to have your Authy running not only when you go into an OE's website, but also when you log into this website, so that we know that your identity is protected along with all the information that you put in. So Authy running right alongside. I get a token from it. You've got 30 seconds before it expires. It goes in, and then you've got your dashboard. We are in this training are going to focus specifically on the dashboard and the 3 different types of D1 forms, so that you know how to operate them. And there will be little tests at the end of each section to make sure that you understood it. Once you've completed this entire training piece and passed the little test sections, you will be given authorization to access the live registry and this portal. The reason we're doing this is that we can't keep up with all of the phone calls if we don't show you how to use it, and you demonstrate to us that you actually watched these pieces. So thanks for taking the time, and if you do have questions beyond that, visit our YouTube channel. We're going to put a lot of little short pieces. What do I do if I lose my password? And things like that. We'll put those up on the YouTube channel to give you immediate help any time of day when you need it. So be sure to visit that. It'll just be at the NASTF YouTube channel. So let's have a look at the dashboard and the D1, shall we?
All right. So before we get over to the D1 there, Donnie, I just want to let people know that, first, if you do have any questions about anything that Donnie's covering today related to SDRM or just NASTF in general, put your comments and questions on that Facebook feed. We may not be able to get to them during the course of this broadcast, but we will be going back over them immediately after. So Donnie has a whole answer sheet all prepared to answer the more common questions that you might have. And we're also taking a hard look at our stream. This should be recorded for viewing later on. Hopefully there won't be any technical issues related with that. If there are, I'm going to go ahead and apologize ahead of the time, because this is a new platform for us. Still trying to work out all the kinks between making all these different little pieces talk to each other the way they're supposed to. So give us, we'll do the best we can there. So Donnie, would you have any other comments to support the video we just watched, or do you want us to go on to the D1 series?
Now, I think one of the things to keep in mind is that if you're familiar with the way we do it now, the way that you contact the automaker sites, that won't change at all, at least not right now. You'll still be going out to them individually and doing that transaction there. This will just be the place where you administer your account, fill out the D1s. You don't have to have them on file anymore. They actually kind of create a PII, a personal information problem, because you've got all these customers' data. And so this system is bank level encryption, and it'll store those for you. So we're hoping that helps a lot with that piece, plus the fact that customers can sign them online, and so can you. So that's what we'll look at the D1. So we're going to give you a quick overview of the D1 forms because we changed them because we did have different use cases that have developed beyond just making a key. So now we have 3 different ones. And also, if you really want to dig down into the details of how to fill them out and those sort of things, you can go on our YouTube channel, and I made independent videos of each one. And also, if you are a vehicle security professional who's in the middle of our fall migration, moving over to the new system, you'll have an email from us on a required training piece that you need to take. And it's not a punishment. It's to make it so you can hit the ground running really fast. It's about 15-20 minutes, and I have to give props here. CarQuest Technical Institute is hosting that and took all of the video and audio and the test questions I developed and built a setup on their learning management system for me. And just literally, because some of this stuff, as it went online, I had to do it really fast. They did it within days. So I really appreciate Chris Chesney and Jeff Miller and all their help with that.
And I guess it kind of rolls into a question here that we just got up on the screen that one of the people watching asked. When are we going to get the invitation to switch to SDRM 2.0?
Well, great question. So here's how we're rolling it out. We've been trying to feel out just how many support questions we would have because we didn't want to have the lines overwhelmed. Primary account holders, which are most of the people probably watching this. Your account has to be in before a sub account can attach to you because we set up the company, then the primary, then the sub accounts. So we are right now on the letter H for last names. So if you are a VSP between A and H and you have not seen an email from us yet, just drop us one right off the website, and there's 5 of us answering those emails right now. And we'll get you a link to the invitation. Frankly, everything's out there right now as far as all of our active users, so you could do it whenever you want. We were just sort of rolling out invitations so that we didn't get overwhelmed. But so far, it's been pretty good. People have watched the video, and they seem to understand how to do it. So if you haven't yet, it's coming. It just depends on the letter. I look up one letter, and it has 80 people with that their last name starting with that, and I get another one and it's 500. So it's just how it rolls out.
Right, absolutely. Another comment, someone's trying to watch the stream having some issues there is like, and I noticed here we've had a couple of dropouts. I don't know, Donnie, are you a fan of that TV show Live PD that's kind of been making the rounds here the last few years? Yeah. Okay, so if you guys ever watch that and you see the screens go green while they're doing something, we haven't gotten that bad, so we'll give us a break. It's making all the technology working to get this information out to you. But if there is something that you missed, again, the folks at NASTF are just great about responding to any inquiries. Donnie's done a great job over there, as has Mark Saxenberg since he's taken over as chairman, just moving even further ahead. And just got to give some quick props here, too, just for NASTF in general. If for those of you who are watching who are not familiar with the National Automotive Service Task Force, they are the nonprofit group that is the bridge between you and I and the OEMs. So if there's you got the information you need to fix a car today, a big part of that is because of the work done by organizations like NASTF. Being able to get access to factory tooling and software and service information like the dealers have, big part of that goes on the shoulders of NASTF. And they do a lot of that kind of work all the time. If you have a specific issue that comes up with a car, you can't find the information, you can't get access to it, you can even go to NASTF and say, hey, I'm having this issue, can you help me out? And many times they'll go to the OEM right for you to see if they can get you an answer. I mean, don't expect it in 20 minutes, but they'll do that for you. What are they asking in return? Not much, dude. All you have to do is join, and there's no cost to join to support NASTF. And I'm going to really encourage anyone who's watching that is not a member of NASTF to do that at the end of this broadcast. Go to their website, nastf.org, and join, because the more voices that they can show they have, the more influence they can exercise with the OEMs. And I know they're doing the same thing now. They're trying to pursue it on the heavy-duty side. You heavy-duty guys know what a struggle that is to find the information you need, and these guys are fighting for you now. So with that little plug in place, shall we move on to the D1 video?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that.
The new SDRM 2.0 has multiple different types of positive ID forms. Most of us know them as D1s. For our Canadian friends, you're familiar with positive ID. In either case, it's the same thing. So there's 3 different versions to make it a little bit easier and more streamlined for you to operate them. So let's talk about the 3 different types and the way and when you would use them. And then we'll go out and break out separate videos for you on how to fill out each one of them. So first off, our traditional one has always been the customer authorization, and that one is the one that you use when you go out to do work for a customer who's lost their key or that sort of thing. Traditional locksmith work, if you will. The next one down is built for our folks that do auctions, bank repossessions, and also who work in environments like you own a fleet and you own every vehicle in that fleet, or they're privately owned, or you're doing work for a dealership where the dealership owns those vehicles. That would be the auction authorization. Then the last one is our contracting authorization, and we've always had this. It's just been embedded in the regular one, and nobody really knew how to use it. So contracting is when, let's say you get a call from a repair shop. Maybe you're a mobile technician or diagnostician, or maybe you're a mobile locksmith. You get a call to go in and do work for them. When you get those calls, this is the form you're going to use. Always keep in mind, and we'll see this when we get into it, that there's a piece of this that's absolutely critical you want to get in their hands beforehand, and that is the customer authorization. We've created a new little form that's just got a few fields that need to be filled out. That repair shop needs to get you a copy of the customer's driver's license. And we're not talking a photocopy, we're talking a picture so you can see that it's legitimate. And then they need to have the customer sign off on this form. And you can fax that form around. We understand that that has to happen, or you can email it around, whichever the case may be.
All right, so there you have some basic information on the D1 forms that Donny was referring to. Donny, I'm sure there's a lot more that people who are watching need to know about those forms, and why don't you fill them in on that?
Yeah, so the really cool part about these forms, on top of the fact that you can just fill them out online, is that we also we're linked to NHTSA's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's database. So when you put the VIN number in, we'll decode that for you. The other cool thing is if you're working an OE site simultaneously, you can cut and paste those VIN numbers around and save the amount of time you have to have for data entry. So, just some sort of, if you will, power user tips, because I've been playing with this system for many months now. But there are 3 different use cases, and the one is really traditional, make a key. The other is intended for those that are doing auction work, bank repossessions, and those sorts of things. But the one that I think is the trickiest of all is the one that we do for, if you're a mobile technician and you go out, for example, or a locksmith, and you go out and do a security operation for a repair shop. That one has been really confusing for our folks using our traditional form. So we build a custom form for it, and we build a little downloadable piece for that as well that you can send to that shop before you get there, so they can get the customer's authorization. And one of the big things that we get a lot of calls on, you'd be surprised, is somebody will make a key at a shop, and then the owner of the vehicle was never alerted. And it's usually because the shop lost the key and they're embarrassed and they don't want to say anything. But I'll get a call saying, one of your locksmiths did this. They made a key for my car and they didn't have authorization. So we want to make sure that they get alerted. You lose a key, it sucks. But, it's just a lot easier to just tell them, we lost the key, we'll get one made. If the other turns up, we'll get it to you. So we've got a special piece of that form for the repair shop, because they're now partially responsible for this transaction. And where the natural extension to this is that we see down the road the need for these types of transactions to be assisted in a lot of shops. Some shops don't want to get into this, or they don't do it very often, and so they need assistance. And so I think that if we can show we're responsible with this piece of it, I'm going to have a lot better chance with the automakers saying, we need to allow some of these guys to remote in and do this. We'll have a locksmith in the shop who maybe doesn't know how to do the transactions, but's responsible for the security, and we'll have a locksmith who's there at the other end on the computer. And we're already talking through this. Don't think you can do it now, because if you do it now, we have to shut you down. It's against our rules. We're trying to find a set of rules that everybody can be happy with. And so we know this is happening a little bit now, and unfortunately we're having to shut those companies down. And I really hate that, because they're not doing a bad thing. That's just not within our terms and conditions, and it potentially opens us up for a theft and a claim. So the D1s are really important, and if you don't fill them out within 5 days, you get shut down. You have to come back and fill them out. So you want to get them done on site. We've made it really easy for you to get them done on site, because you can sign with your finger. You can use a mouse to sign, and you could do it all from your phone. So you don't even have to actually have a laptop in the field if you don't want to. So that's just kind of it in a nutshell. And if you've got other questions, again, the website has got links. And the training that's coming out has all kinds of information about them. And then YouTube, NASTF's YouTube channel has videos on every single one. I filled out each one and showed you how to do it, so that it's real easy to fill out.
Yeah, I know, Don, you've done a whole lot of work to make this as simple as you can. I know that the whole team there at NASTF has done a lot of hard work to make this more simple and easier for the end users. But for the end users, the shop owners, the techs out there in the field, it's like you kind of have to consider what the industry as a whole is up against. You have so many vehicles now that don't really need a key inserted in any type of ignition to start. They just need to have the fob somewhere in the general neighborhood, of the vehicle. And thieves are taking advantage of that. It's very easy for them to grab that code information. I mean, now, we've had instances where they're just going by your house and your keys are hanging on the garage wall, and they're grabbing your code, into some little transponder device they have that they can get a hold of. And then when your car's out and about, they can go right to that car and just use that to get the car. So, yeah, you might have to jump through some extra hoops that we haven't been used to in the past to help make sure that the vehicle security remains as secure as the OEM intended. But that's just a change in business, right, Donnie?
Yeah, and if you will, think of this as training wheels for the cybersecurity issues that we're going to be facing in the next few years. Automakers are looking really close at how LSIDs or vehicle security professionals manage these accounts. When we did that big lockdown of the guys that were not playing by the rules, that got their attention. And so we're really trying to show that we're responsible. We get it. We understand the security risks. And so think of this as really an opportunity to show the automaker side of this transaction, who's terrified of having a car stolen and being sued, or having a cybersecurity issue that causes a wreck, and understandably so. Just understand that what they're looking at is they're saying, okay, so are the independent repair shops being responsible? Because if they are, I think I've got a lot better case to make with them that we need to be able to expand this more and give you more access.
Right. Is there anything in conclusion that you want to draw forth about the SDRM 2.0?
Well, just one further thing. If you're moving into it, or you've been sitting on the sidelines because it takes us so long to process an application manually, the new system is all electronic. It's much faster, and we've got a level of security detail now that we've never had before. It's really cool. I can't even tell you about that just yet because we're not quite done with all the contracts. But so if you've been waiting around and you weren't sure, now the system is fast and zippy, and you get feedback on where it is. You can see the process and where we're at. And for those of you, if you have a little trouble, if you haven't already watched my migration video, please do. It's on YouTube before you start migrating. And if you have trouble, we now have a help desk. we've never had this really. It's always been a few of us answering the phones and trying to support all of the users. We've got a help desk, and these are the actual software developers who helped us build it in Michigan, and they're the two guys and I, they're very sharp, and they will spread out to a bigger load if the phones keep ringing. So don't be afraid to send them an email. You also saw down in the bottom right-hand corner, we now have online chat for SDRM. So if you're in the system and you're like, I don't understand, they can actually take over the screen and show you. So we try to make it a lot easier to use. So I hope you find that's the case. And if you don't, if you find something that doesn't work, drop me a note. I want to know.
Well, again, that's something NASTF has always been very responsive to input from its users and its members to make things better for everyone. And that certainly looks like you're continuing to do the same thing with the SDRM model. Guys, like Donny was saying, if you need more information about SDRM or you need more, there's actually a link to a YouTube video for those of you who have not set up any kind of account yet that you can take a look at, and that will also take you to the NASTF YouTube channel. Again, the website is www.nastf.org. You can easily contact them. Remember, sign up, become a member. And if you want to know what's going on, if you're in the area, attend one of the meetings. We actually have a fall general meeting coming up. Why don't you tell the people reviewing about that?
Yeah, so Halloween, that should make it easy for you to remember, from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock before the sun goes down and Vegas turns into that crazy place it turns into on Halloween. If you've never been there on Halloween, it is not for little kids. But anyway, we're doing our general meeting from 1 to 5, and we're in that lower floor where the big registration area is for Apex in Casanova 606. That's also on our website, along with our outline. We're going to be showing SDRM live. Our Road to Great Technicians program has made a huge leap forward this year. Not as big as we wanted, but it's still huge. And we'll be talking about that. We've got some really great interviews that we're going to do during that session. And then we also do this really fun thing that we just started doing at the end of the meeting that we call What's Up With You? And we run around the room with a microphone and ask people from all parts of the industry to give us like a 2-minute deal on something cool that's happening in their part of the industry. And we did this at the ETI meeting in the spring, and it was a home run. In fact, we had to stop. Everybody was having such a good time, but we ran out of time. So we've got more time for it this year, and we hope you'll come and participate. It's free, and you don't have to be registered for Apex to be there, but there's still plenty of time if you want to get registered and go to Apex. I highly recommend it if you haven't done it, particularly if you're a repairer.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, that they'll be recording that meeting and be posting to their YouTube channel if you can't make the journey to Vegas to attend in person. And that Road to Great Technicians, that's a whole other thing, Donny, that you and I definitely have to get together again and talk about that, because that's some exciting stuff going on there.
Yeah, we need to get my friend Chris Chesney in on this, and there's just been some amazing work going on behind the scenes on this, and with all the industry factions that are working on this. NASTF's not trying to invent the wheel. NASTF's just trying to put all the pieces of the car together into one piece and get everybody communicating. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and hats off to NASTF and Chris and yourself and everybody else behind the scenes, because guys, there's a lot of people behind the scenes. NASTF is mostly volunteers, giving of their time and energies in these different areas to make the industry a better place for both of us, or all of us, and they've been doing a fantastic job. So again, if you want to get involved, join, go to the website and join. If you want to become more involved, there's a lot of different things that you can become involved in to help things move forward. But for the most part, like I said, with NASTF, this whole Road to Great Technicians thing is about something we've all wanted to see in a long time, bringing all these little elements together to have been trying to go the same direction into one place and pull together, and that's just going to create so much more synergy. So, again, if you have questions on SDRM 2.0, you can leave them in the Facebook comments, or you can email Donny at NASTF. Or you can go to the website, you can go to the YouTube channel. Lots of places for you to find the information you need. Of course, you can always come to us at Motor Age, and we'll do the best we can to connect you with the resources you need. Donny, thanks again for taking the time to come out to say in this edition of Shop Talk, and we'll hope to talk to you again soon.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Pete.
All right, Road Next Technician. See you in Vegas.
Okay.